I've seen a lot of your LinkedIn posts, and some of them are very fascinating. I read that Maggie one, especially, where you were talking about how this concept of Maggie, 2 minutes Maggie came up, and how people are playing with the psychology of humans. So, is there any books which you refer, and after that you write that post, or is are there some sources which you are referring to?
uh, I mean, it's a combination of all the things uh, that I gather through the internet. So it's like kind of a rag picking process where you
Uh-huh.
go through the internet, you scan all the things that you can, and finally you found something and you can spin it in. So it's nothing that I'm writing something original over there. So this might have been written thousands of times by other people. So I'm just copying it and packaging it in my perspective and pushing it on LinkedIn. That was the only thing that I did. Nothing new.
So any top three sources which you feel that everyone should follow? Like you like you listen podcasts. I think you listen a lot.
Yeah.
So any top three podcasts which you want to share with new people who have joined us, or like people like me, because I don't do a lot of listening and reading. So anything which will be helpful for me also.
Uh, my favorite podcast is Planet Money. So anything from NPR, if you search for the NPR, anything from the NPR, I believe that that's the gold standard of podcast. Planet Money is my favorite. They discuss about money, but in a very weird and different ways. The second one is Freakonomics. Some of you might have read the book, but I haven't read the book, so I like the Freakonomics podcast. And there is one, the Investors podcast. I think I discussed it last time also. So the only criteria for anyone to appear on that podcast is that you have to be a billionaire, otherwise you can't be on that podcast. So so the quality is automatically good because all the billionaires are coming and they are sharing their approach, like how they are investing, what different they are doing. So the in the, that one is also good. Apart from that, like I have the list with me. Maybe
Yeah,
it's available. Maybe I can share that list with everyone,
sure, sure.
and you can simply import if you find it interesting. Otherwise,
Definitely, definitely. So Anmol, when you said that people who are billionaires are the only one who can come to that podcast, but people who suffered in this journey of becoming billionaire and who have not reached to that level. So do you think that people who have failed and are still in the process of uh, they got this experience, यार ये चीजें मैं नहीं करता तो मैं अच्छा. So do you think that those people are also good enough to qualify this podcast, but still they are not called because the criteria is very very, I would say, very
yeah,
strict.
for that particular podcast, yes. But I think if they are persistent, then eventually they will reach there. Maybe they will reach in their 80s, but uh, if they are good and persistent, they will eventually reach. Uh, yeah.
Okay, because agar like if someone who have not reached to that level, अगर वो कुछ कहता है तो हम सब होते हैं, अरे ज्ञान मत दे यार, मुझे सब पता है. So I'm just just trying to visualize the same thing, that अगर if someone who has reached to that level, चाहे उसने कुछ ना किया हो, मतलब मे बी हो सकता है वो तुक्का
Mhm.
लग गया हो, जैसे कि he is not aware of anything. तो हो
Yeah.
सकता है कई लोग ऐसे हैं जिंदगी में, बट वो बिलियनर भाई, हम उसकी बात सुनेंगे तो आई
Yeah.
थिंक
I
ये भी
think that
ऐसे ही चलता है.
their sorting criteria is money, but I mean, in fact, I mean, this month in March, one of my objective was to uh, you know write a long form essay because I am very fascinated with the. So eventually, the goal is to write a book, maybe someday, not today, in some years. So it starts with a long form essay. So I'm very fascinated with when someone can write a long essay. So this month actually I spent around 20-30 hours on essay, and it is on the same topic that most people who are you know who who actually change any industry or who bring a substantial change, they are always, their opinion is not uh, well accepted by the society. So if you take the example of Galileo, So when he said that, earth is revolving around the sun, so the notion before that was, sun is revolving around the earth, and it was said by the church. So when Galileo said that, he has made some observation, he has gathered the data, and actually earth is spinning around the sun, not the other way around. So the church said that, how can you say this? You have gone against us. And he was actually jailed, just for one day, but he was jailed for saying this loud. And same, I think, many of you have already seen the movie where, Alan Turing, who he saved, like, the unofficial numbers are, he actually saved 2 million people. It's like the twice the size of a Sweden. And instead of celebrating him, he was later found to be homosexual, and it was a crime in UK at that time, although it's still a crime in some of the countries like Saudi Arabia. And he he actually committed suicide. But he the Alan Turing the Turing test it is used today also. Mahesh might have known it more. It is actually used to check the intelligence of the system. So all these people, and even if you take the example of Elon Musk, when his rockets were bursting, like in 2008, no one was praising him. Everyone was saying ki yaar ye pagal ho gaya, ye kya kar raha hai. It's not possible to reuse rockets. So I think all the people who have actually shifted the industry, they were against the society, because agar aap society ke norm ke sath chaloge, then you form the opinion which is acceptable. That is the only criteria to survive in society. You form the opinion which is acceptable by society, and that is the safe opinion, ki equal rights hone chahiye, which is popular these days. These kind of things. So the essay was actually on the same topic, that strong opinions are always against the society, but they are the very force that shape the society in few decades. So I don't think so, like, वो लोग भी बहुत ही crucial होंगे, which are not billionaire, but they were doing something totally different from the norm.
मैं एक चीज से आपका ओपिनियन जानना चाहूंगा. Like, so what do you think, like, what will happen to one, like, one after he's dead? तो वो जो, like, जैसे कोई भी है, like, I'll take my example. So what will happen to me, like, सब कुछ हो गया और टूट गई, तो मैं कहाँ जाऊंगा? Have you ever given a thought to this? कभी
So
दिमाग में आया कि यार क्या होता होगा मरने के बाद या जिंदगी के बाद?
I don't believe in afterlife. I
अच्छा.
I actually believe the subconscious, like, the things that we are discussing. We are believing, we are having original thoughts, and we can think on things, we can ponder on things. I think it is a byproduct of evolution. It was not meant to be there, but somehow I'm not sure like how chemistry formed up and it came up, but I don't think so. Subconscious level was designed by evolution. It was a byproduct, and I don't think so. There is any afterlife. Like, मर गए तो खत्म. That's it.
मर गए तो मर गए.
Yes.
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक. So, Anmol, in the part, the one question that came from someone, that person, like, he was very uh, fascinated, when he got to know that, yaar, ye banda NIT मेरे दोस्त है, this guy is from NIT Jalandhar and this guy is from uh, Aligarh University. So he was telling me this, कि sir आपको पता है ये बंदा इससे है, so you know that, and I am from NIT. So do you think that somewhere this being from a local college stopped you here in GreyB, or what do you think is a role of a local college, or I would say the colleges which are not recognized at the national level, like, because there are, like, this is a norm, right? You know
Yeah.
that यार ये बंदा NIT से है, बंदा IIT से, तो ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या, मतलब is it just a mental barrier, or how you are taking it, because you have already spent 10 years in the industry, so do you think that this has stopped you somewhere in your career?
Uh, I mean, initially, I mean, the college from which, so I did my graduation from IIT Bhadal. So it's in Roped, and not even the audience of Roped would be aware of this college. So, so it's not like कि national level पे है, ऐसे local level पे भी नहीं है. So there was a lot of insecurity when I joined, because most of the Grabians, they were from the elite colleges, जो कि बहुत ही अच्छे हैं. And it was also, मैं भी चाहता था कि मैं ऐसे कॉलेज में जाऊं, but eventually वो नहीं हुए clear exams. So there was a lot of insecurity when I joined, because, and it was also, I felt good, because मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि यार यहाँ पे ना सब तो बंदे ही बैठे हैं, and I can absorb something कुछ ना कुछ तो मैं सबसे खींच ही लूंगा, कुछ कुछ
Mhm.
जितना भी टाइम में हूँ यहाँ पे. So it was like, insecurity would be there, and because that is how, the first sorting criteria is actually like this in many of the places, that you have to be like A grade, B grade colleges, and then rest of the audience. And so insecurity hoti hai, but eventually I think those things faded away as I started working, and as I started doing projects and collaborating. तो वो कहीं पे उसने backseat ले ली, but yeah, initially it was there. Even you and Sood, Sood was the gold medalist, and I was sharing flat with you guys. तो कहीं तो होता था कि यार ये तो एनआईटी वाले बंदे हैं, ये तो इनका तो हो
Good
जाएगा
medalist.
कुछ, बट आई हैव टू स्ट्रगल एंड डू समथिंग टू survive. So that feeling was there in the initial years, but eventually it faded away. And I think in coding, especially in programming, I think this thing is going away, where even if you see all the big companies like Fank, I don't think so they have any more criteria that you have to be graduate from Stanford or Harvard to or MIT to join. So there are like MOOCs, massive online courses that are running. You do the certifications if you want. Otherwise, you can just show your work, like what you are doing, what problems you are solving, and they are actually picking guys from the crowd. And they Facebook or these kind of things are their hiring criteria, I guess. So I think this barrier is dissolving. But yeah, initially when I joined, it was a mental barrier for me also, that I have to work hard, I have to earn to be here, to be part of GreyB. And I think it helped me initially, otherwise वो laid back हो जाता शायद. But the fear of that I can be kicked out anytime is what pushed me to be honest.
Okay,
So I joined infringement team initially. Then
uh-huh.
I
52.
then Deepak told me that you are in the product development team, and there was no one. So team was a oxymoron there. uh, but yeah, so
Okay,
then
okay. So
slowly.
you if I see your journey from the day one to now, so uh, you guys are doing consistently good in the cultural rating. Like every time you are scoring high in that, and even I am surprised because I have a very little contribution in your team, because from the cultural front, because since when everything is good, so then I think it is best that you run it. I don't put any suggestions, but I just want to understand, like how do you know the secret sauce that you are using to maintain this good culture in your team? Because from last four I think quarters consistently you're getting very good cultural rating. So what is the secret sauce of having this culture? Is it because of Anmol, or is it because of the people? So credit goes to Anmol, or credit goes to people who are
I
in your team?
I think that sauce is also secret for me, because I'm also not sure. Like I even don't know the definition of culture. Like whenever you used to send the rating to me, I used to like कि यार मुझे इसकी अगर मुझे अभी कोई जसवाल ये पूछ लेगा ना कि what do you mean by culture, मेरे पास नहीं होगी वन लाइनर. I don't even know how to define culture, but yet we are getting good rating. So I guess it's on the team. I mean, I'm not sure, like, and I also don't think so कि ये कुछ last 2-3 quarters में हुआ which resulted in these ratings. So I think this has been evolving slowly. This has been growing slowly over the past few years, and it's automatic. Like you can't force it, I guess. A good culture, I mean, because when you force good culture, you will eventually start making rules कि यार ये होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए. When you start making rules, people will not internalize that thing कि यार ये तो ना मेरे से करवा रहा है. That is the hard power, not the soft power. मुझे ये करना होगा because ये रूल बन गया. Eventually इससे अच्छा culture होगा, but ये मुझे करना होगा. So when you make a rules or a checklist, people won't internalize and they will not adopt it. So I think it's the set of rules that were never written in the team that resulted in a good culture. The day I will
Wow.
give words to those rules कि यार ये 5 चीजें होती थी, that's why it's a good culture, वो प्रेशर भी आना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा कि now we are not doing these things, तो कल्चर खराब हो सकता है. So I think it's best that we do not put any words to these things, at least for me, because I'm not very this is not my area of expertise. I
But
was
still,
meant.
you are able to maintain it consistently. So that's why, like uh, मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि बाबा अनमोल कुछ तो तोड़ कर रहा है कि बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज सो सेट, पीपल आर गिविंग वेरी गुड रेटिंग, तो मुझे लगता है कि देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच अनमोल इज हाइडिंग व्हिच ही इज नॉट शेयरिंग, so
Maybe I'm sending some secret money to them each month to rate me good on that survey.
हो सकता है. So I think this is the secret sauce and which you should pass on to other teams who are still like on the verge of getting better.
Yeah, so I think everyone, when you're working hard for the 9 hours, everyone want to do their best. So it's not like यार कोई बंदा आता है बोलता है यार आज मीडियोकर काम करते हैं क्योंकि आज मन नहीं है. I don't think so anyone comes up with this uh, mental image in company. So everyone is trying to do their best. You have to push them, encourage them, and जो आपने mistakes किए हैं, make sure कि वो they don't repeat it. So even today I find ways in which I can work on any one of the project with any my team members. So sometimes even I work on a simple script, जो छोटी सी script होती है, and I find it interesting like how they are solving things and thinking. So I keep on finding ways in which I can work with my team, because uh, once you become manager or something, आपको वो you don't know what is happening at the base level, आप पता ही नहीं
Yeah,
लगता वो
yes, sir.
ऊपर से सब कुछ ऐसा लगता है यार अच्छा होना चाहिए था क्यों नहीं कर रहे. So I try to find ways in which I can be with team. So sometimes I even do when Hanisha is busy, so I do testing also for some of the products, and then I report the bugs to the developer कि यार ऐसा ऐसा आ रहा है, you have to see. Sometimes I do I make reports for the things that we need to do. So I keep on involving myself with these things so that I can see where I can put some value and where I can add inputs to my team. So I
Mhm.
don't think so like what is the secret sauce, but you have to give somewhat freedom to the people so that they can pursue and do things that they wanted to do, because they are also doing hard work and they wanted to do their best. You have to just encourage them and let them know that you are there for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So last, in the end, like we are able to conclude on 2 points, two secret sauces. So like other day when I was having a discussion with the teams, who are doing good, sufficiently good, but not the best. So they were asking me like, can you direct me to someone like who is doing amazing in the cultural meeting? So I was aware that it's you, that I should send them to you directly, but I just thought that let me ask Anmol this first, that Anmol, what is the secret sauce, so that you can answer them, because if you will say do this to them that भाई मुझे नहीं पता, तो they will say यार कुछ तो गड़बड़ कर रहा है, बोला हम तो कुछ छुपा रहा है, तो
No, I don't think so. There is. So I think one of the key thing that I find very interesting in the team is we run a lot of experiments internally, lot of experiments, and the idea is not to run successful experiments, but the idea is just to run experiments. And most of them are failure, but some of them are working very well. So like I'm a very firm believer of New Year resolutions. Like it may sound very weird, but I find it's a interesting excuse to try something new. So leaving the social network was also one of my New Year resolution that I took in, I think, 2014. And so I'm very attached to New Year resolutions. But the issue was, you can only try it once in a year. So अगर आप 70 साल जी रहे हो और आपको 30 साल में ये realize हुआ, then you just have like very limited hours, sorry, years to exercise this. So what we did this year was, from January we started कि यार new year resolution नहीं लेते, we'll take new month resolution that will do that thing for 30 days and then we'll jump to some other thing. और वो बहुत ही छोटे छोटे होते थे. So like the very first maybe I can because I was also tracking it, so maybe I can share how it looks like.
Yesterday I was having a discussion with someone who is a part of this conversation. So that person told me that he is or she is doing like 10,000 steps every before sleep. So that is like a very good resolution that that person is holding.
Yeah, so is my screen visible?
Yes,
uh,
yes.
if I zoom. Okay, so in January, uh, most of the team members, they took the challenge of having 400K steps. So each day we have to like walk 14,000 kilometers. So I was not able to do it
How
because
much? How much? 14?
14,000 steps daily. Uh,
14. Oh
so
my God.
I was able to like achieve 56% of that. So that was one of the small experiment. Then in Feb, I'm not very good at writing, so I wanted to improve my writing, because right now we converse each and everything through emails. So I wanted कि मेरी emails clear हो and I should be very good on writing so that I can pass on the information loss now in short. So in Feb, what I did was I actually posted, I tried to post it for 28 days on LinkedIn. So this is this is the status. It was actually experiment, not something that कि मैं LinkedIn पे post करना start कर दूंगा. So it was like day one done. What was the title and what was the reaction? So I was also tracking की reactions में growth कैसे आई. So as a material. So this is
So 30, the first number is like the first day, like.
yeah, day one. So day
Okay,
one.
okay, okay.
So you'll see some of the days are missed. Like I was not able to do on some of the days, mostly weekends. Uh, but so this was another experiment, and I actually also found out like how the algorithm of LinkedIn is working. Like I thought that if you embed images or links it will have an impact, but it doesn't. So I actually found out some of the ways in which uh, LinkedIn algorithm actually works, because I was able to see how the reactions were coming up, what things were working and what were not. And so same in the March. So I wanted to publish a essay, so that has been done. And in April I'll be doing sketching for 30 days. मेरे को
Wow.
क्योंकि I am not very so drawing is the
It's
only tuition that I took in the school. मुझे और किसी की tuition नहीं चाहिए थी. Math physics I was good, but I was very bad at drawing, so I took the tuition of drawing in from 6th class to 9th class. For
oh
3
my
years I
God.
was taking the tuition of
ड्राइंग की ट्यूशन होती है वैसे,
yes.
मुझे ये समझना है।
मैं स्टूडेंट था बस एक वहाँ पे. सो
मतलब मैंने कभी नहीं सुना, बताया जिंदगी में नहीं सुना कि ड्राइंग की ट्यूशन होती है।
So I am very bad at drawing. So next month I'll be doing sketching for 30 minutes daily to see कि थोड़ा improvement होता है नहीं. Then I'll pick something else in the May. So this is what we are doing as a team. So everyone posts their challenge on the group that this is what they are doing, and people come up कि यार मैं भी करता हूँ, मैं भी करता हूँ. So like Tushar is doing from my team. He's doing one UI mock-up on daily basis, and Nikhil and Prabjot, they are the new guys. They are doing one competitive programming daily, and they're also sharing it. So everyone in the team is doing some small experimentation, and they are finding कि यार अच्छा ये अच्छा लगता है मुझे, I should explore more. I think it's all about the exposure. So they are getting exposure, and even in the morning also, we are starting our day by watching master class. So we gather at 10 a.m. daily in the morning, and we pick and very random topics on the master class, and we watch the whole series. So like last we saw the series of astronaut who gave all the like what astronauts do and what they do study, and how is it the journey. Now we are watching the explained web series on Netflix. So this is how we start our day. Nothing related to work, but it's a good start for the day. अगर पूरे दिन में मची भी होगी, then at least on the starting you are doing something good,
वाह,
and it
वाह,
sets
वाह।
the pace for the day, I guess. And also it makes everyone join at the same time secretly.
मैं दीपक से पूछ रहा था क्या मैं अनमोल की टीम ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ?
So I think this is the team. This is what team is doing. I'm just participating in these things, and I'm just collecting the trophy of the culture on the stage. Otherwise,
I, but I remember that in the beginning you said that it is because of people. So I think somewhere down the line you gave the credit to them as well. So ऐसा नहीं है कि, yeah, definitely. So trophy तो कोई एक बंदा लेता है. It is equivalent that you are acting as a head coach of PGT team, and they are the team players who is helping you to reach there. So very good culture. So whatever you talked, I think this is what we define as a culture. So great going and move in this direction. So since we talked about this monthly challenge. So apart from this, so this is something which you are doing with the team. So apart from this, do you do you have some personal challenges for yourself that uh, sketching वाला एक छोटा part है, but overall यार मुझे I want to be Anmol 2.0 by the next year, or different Anmol by 2023. So do you set some goals like this, or you are a short-term goal player, or you are a long-term goal player? So what type of person you are?
So I think professionally, I'll share professionally. So I think the long-term goal is to have to set up GreyB as not a product company but as a platform company where other people will come and build their products or build their
Oh,
things. So I want to be the platform of IP. Like Amazon is the AWS is the platform. So people buy things from AWS to set up there. So Netflix AWS पे आके buy कर रहा है. Apple, they are hosting their things on AWS. So AWS is the platform. They are enabling these giants to do something. So they are doing it at an infrastructure level. So I think my long-term goal is to have GreyB as the platform of IP. Any company who want to innovate, they can build on over GreyB. Like GreyB will provide the Lego blocks that combine these 3 blocks and you'll have this thing set up and these kind of things. So I think the long-term goal is to go in that direction, and uh, so so there would be many short-term goals to achieve this, to find what is the core need that non-IP people want, not the IP people, because the non-IP people, how they can get hooked to patents, how they can I believe Mahesh is also working in the same direction. I used to have this discussion frequently with Mahesh. So these are these small problems, like the small chunk problems that can be achieved, so that at one day we can be visualized as the the platform of IP is what GreyB did in the industry.
अति सुंदर. that is something which मतलब मुझे ऐसा फीलिंग है कि एलन मस्क बोल रहा है. So Anmol, I have to notice one thing, that you use Lego a lot in your conversation. So is there any special love for Lego, or is it something which is unconsciously in your mind, and consciously whenever you're talking it comes to the conversation?
uh, I think the core word is APIs, but I cannot say API to everyone because only programmers will understand what API is. So API is, whenever you are even writing the code, so you try to split the code into small modules, like, we call dry approach, don't repeat yourself, so that, one code is doing one thing. So that is API. Like, if you build something in the API form, it can be, merged, mixed, and you can have very, very you can speed up the pace of development very quickly. That is the secret sauce in coding, that you can write everything in APIs, and then you can mix APIs, and you can build products in a week also. Like the no code movement that is happening, that is also due to same, where I think very many teams use the no code platforms in the Makeathon ideas to, they don't even have the developers yet, they have the final product ready because of the
Yeah,
APIs.
yeah.
So I think I cannot say API in every conversation. So the only equivalent part uh, which is available to everyone, the common vocabulary, is Lego blocks, because you can combine Lego blocks and you can build a truck, or you can build a train, or you can build something random also. So I think that's the root API, but I cannot say API. And I'll be treated as an outlier when I say API in a party. So I try to say Lego word.
Okay, okay. A great explanation. Like, I never thought that you will go in so much detail, to give me this. Because no, normally if I would have asked this someone else, मुझे किसी ने पूछा तो मैंने बोलता लेगो यार, normally जो हम खेलते हैं, so that is like.
Cool word आजकल का, so
हाँ.
I'm using it. Our products are AI, ML, blockchain enabled. ऐसे cool
Okay.
word.
So I'm left with last three, things, that is there in my mind. So we are moving to the end. So one of I'll start with the first one, where I know you are a big time follower of Elon Musk. So, but I don't want to ask you, like, why do you like Elon Musk? I want to know what are the top five things that you don't want to follow from Elon Musk, or you hate 5 things. You have to tell those 5 things. कि कभी सोचा ही नहीं बुराई के बारे में, यार ये बंदा ही बहुत अच्छा है.
नहीं अच्छा तो I mean he is good, brilliant. So I think
Rishabh Sharma said smoke weed on podcast.
uh, so I think if I take this notion one step back, so I think जो I don't like in Elon Musk is he is very famous. That is the one thing that I started disliking, because when you get famous, uh, you have to, I mean you have to very cautious. आप छोटा सा भी step लेते हो, it gets magnified. एंड यू सो वो एक मेंटल में ना, मतलब दिमाग में बर्डन आना स्टार्ट हो जाता है कि यार कैन आई से दिस थिंग पब्लिकली और नॉट। तो ना कई बार ऐसा मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि यू स्टार्टेड हाइडिंग द ट्रू पर्सनैलिटी वंस यू रीच अ स्टेज और वंस यू गेट this much fame. So one very recent example was, where they so he's also working on the Neuralink, and so he planted the Neuralink module in the pigs. तो वो क्या हुआ, 21 pigs, I think 20 or 21 pigs, they died due to that, um, that implant. So the journal narrative in the social circle was कि यार ये ना, it was like a very bad company, ये animal cruelty के ऊपर है, PETA people also came up. तो ना वो क्या हुआ, it was like a very bad PR, और उसका फिर रिएक्शन क्या होगा, if it's इन्वेस्टर्स भी अब डर जाएंगे कि यार ये क्या हो रहा है, लाइक नो वन वांट्स टू गेट एसोसिएटेड विद अ कंपनी हु इज रनिंग एनिमल क्रूरटी और दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. बट if you see parallelly, like I mean we can't even count the number of rats that we kill every day in
Yeah.
experiments. मतलब ऐसा होता था कि यार कोई सरकारी स्कूल में भी चले जाओ, दे ओपन अप द रैट जस्ट फॉर द अम्यूजमेंट कि देखो यार ऐसे ऐसे ऑपरेट करते हैं, है ना. तो so what the problem is, like when you get this much famous, you have to also take care of the society. So some of the mental block is processing कि यार ये society अच्छे से perceive करेगी, should I take this step या should I not take this step. So if अगर आज के टाइम में if he has to make the reusable rockets और वो 3 बार फेल होते हैं, शायद वो चौथी बार ट्राई ना करता, है ना, बिकॉज पब्लिक का प्रेशर इतना बन जाता. So I think he is famous is the one thing that I don't like anymore, because he has to be very cautious with the things that he is doing, क्योंकि सोसाइटी के अकॉर्डिंग चलना पड़ेगा. एंड इफ यू वांट प्रोग्रेस, देन आपको सोसाइटी के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं चलना पड़ेगा. दैट्स द ओनली वे टू अचीव प्रोग्रेस. अदरवाइज यू विल बी मीडियोकर if you are going with the society. Second thing I think on the same roles is he took Tesla public, which is good initially, because I also I have few stocks of Tesla and they have given very good returns, so I'm happy from that angle. But I think once you are public company, again you have to satisfy uh, the expectations of the audience कि यार ऐसे है या ऐसा नहीं है, because from 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 what I see, like he is pivoting the Tesla. So even uh, in the last keynote, he said that Tesla is not a automotive company anymore. He said that it's a robotics company. It would be the first robotic company, because जब तक AI नहीं है कार में, it's a simple vehicle, dumb vehicle, है ना, you give the instructions and but once you have the AI autonomous and it's at a good level like level 4 or level 5, it can take the decisions on their own. And if you install the same AI in the something else, so Tesla is kind of a robotic company that is, मतलब जैसे Boston Dynamics है, I think Tesla would be the largest robotics company in the world. But ये notion अब कैसे society accept करेगी once it's started spreading out is very difficult. और वो फिर stock को hit करेगा, if society is not taking it in a good way, तो वो stock low होगा, and then he may take some decisions which is not good for the future growth but is good for the immediate banded solution. So I think that is the second thing, that he should not take any company public anymore. Like Tesla ho gaya, but he should keep SpaceX everything under the private equity and do not take it public. So that is the second thing. Third thing, I think he's not setting up, like the whole ecosystem of these companies is dependent on Elon, and there is no contingency plan. Like अगर उसको किसी ने, even if he goes
बता
out,
दिया.
like ना, हाँ किसी ने उड़ा दिया है, कुछ कर दिया, so I mean there should be a plan B, because he has set such a great things in motion. So there is no like backup Elon Musk at present would be the third thing that I don't like. He is the one man army that is doing things, but uh, he should have a plan B also, so that these things or this momentum can continue even if he decides to go on Mars or do something else. So I think these three things I won't be able to, since I like him a lot, I won't be able to go
So
till five.
lot of messages were floating in the group. So the one interesting one was must marry every decade. So do you dislike this, or you think that this is his personal choice
Which one?
that he marries every decade? तीन चार शादियां हो चुकी है मतलब like
Okay.
दो तो मुझे पता है तो
So so I mean I'm not expert on this, and अभी मेरी शादी को 1 साल भी नहीं हुआ, so I'm not the good person to comment on this. घर भी जाना मुझे. But today we were watching this series on Explained. So वहाँ पे मुझे एक बड़ा interesting concept लगा. So humans, or the whole idea is to pass on genes, and that they said that the best way to pass on gene is to have multiple like wives or whatever you call it. And they said that this notion of having just one partner throughout the life was not uh, came from a very well thought process, but actually it came from the kings, because उनको ऐसा था कि यार अगर uh, they won't be able to pass on their heritage, है ना, जितना भी उन्होंने पैसा इकट्ठा किया सब कुछ किया, they won't be able to pass on heritage. So what they did was, kings decided कि यार ऐसा notion set करते हैं, there should be only one life partner throughout the life. And so this was this idea of whole marriage, that one person throughout life was was created by kings, so that they can pass on their heritage to just one person. और उन्होंने clear कर दिया कि बेटा तू एक ही शादी करेगा, you cannot have multiple wives या ऐसा. So I found the concept of like marriage is coming from very different angle, but eventually it get molded into this thing. So no comments on that, but the origin was very fascinating for me, like
you've
how.
already commented a lot and now you're saying no comments on that.
But yeah, the origin was very interesting, that
Yeah.
this was thought by kings too.
So can you share the link of that explained series to everyone so that they
Yeah,
can also
I'll
have a
share the link.
first hand experience of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving to the next, I want to if now if I ask you that what advice you will give to Anmol who have just joined GreyB. So, like,
uh, so I think two things. The first one is, we are very concerned as what the others will think about us. I think that is a very very big or huge barrier. That so eventually everyone in this group will eventually realize that society, मतलब no one thinks about you all the time, है ना, वो हम खुद ही सोचते हैं, we are not at the center of the universe, but we tend to believe that we are, and
yeah,
everyone is talking about us. So eventually there comes a age that when you realize कि यार society doesn't care for you and they don't think about you all the time, and that is actually a very refreshing realization when it comes. So it came to me very late, I think like 3-4 years back. So one advice I would give is that if that realization could have come in the early 20s, because then I could have focused more on the things that I wanted to do and not on the templated things that should be done, as said by everyone, that you not the checklist life, you can escape that. And the second thing is, uh, I used to have very, I call them safe opinions. I used to have very safe opinions, like कि जिससे किसी को कुछ बुरा ना लग जाए. So I was kind of a, I was very neutral in everything. Whatever you'll say, I'll say yes to you, है ना? So I was the only person. I think you might have seen, like you and Sood used to fight with Naveen, but I was always the neutral one कि यार मेरे को नहीं लड़ना किसी के साथ. I'm like जो भी बोल रहा है okay अच्छा है सब कुछ है. So I think that was very very bad thing on my part, that these conflicts or these things, because of this I was not forming my opinion that how things should be done. And it was a very late realization, like again 2-3 years back, that I realized that I should have strong opinions on the things, even if they are not accepted by everyone, but I should have them, I should hold them, because they will lead me to the things that are not yet done. That's the only way to reach there. So opinions are like bets, like you can it can have very good returns, but it can be a failure also. But the second thing is, you should have strong opinions on certain topics, not on all the topics, like religion, politics, these do not form any strong opinion on these topics, but on certain topics which are very close to you, which you believe are very, you should be done by someone like science or these kind of things. So you should form strong opinions on those, like how this is how things should be done. Like if you look at Elon Musk, he has a strong opinion that electric is the future, or reusable rocket should be there, or our input output is a barrier, so we should plant a implant in the brains to increase the processing speed. So he's having a very strong opinions which are not acceptable, but they are the key players in the innovation. So first one is, don't uh, you know put too much focus on the society, what they will be saying. And second is, have strong opinions on some of the topics, not all, but some of the topics that on which you will be working throughout your life.
पहली चीज से मुझे याद आ गया, ये तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. Okay,
Yeah.
moving to the last part. So, Anmol, you're still hiring in your team, or it's done for now? It's closed for some time.
No, it's we are still hiring. it's
Ah,
it's never done.
so, like, uh, so what are the top three qualities? Like, if someone from this group wanted to tell to his or her friend that, hey, the guy from the product development team is hiring. So, what are the three qualities that you look for the person whom you want to hire in your team? And
Okay.
well, number can be like huge, but I'm just
So I think the only, uh, if I have to just not even five, if I just to pick one quality, I would say that I would pick curiosity. Because if the other person is curious, then he'll find something interesting out of the work. Like, even if you look at the work that we are doing, so eventually it boils down to kind of a form based applications. If I have to uh, put very raw
yeah.
words into this, like it's kind
Hmm.
of a form based things, है ना, कि आप फॉर्म भरोगे, सबमिट करोगे, है ना, वो डेटा कहीं पे चला गया, एक इधर डिफरेंट स्क्रीन, यहाँ पे वो डेटा आ जाएगा. सो if I dump it down to the very fundamental blocks, it would be like your form based things. It's kind of a, even some people said कि यार programmers are doing nothing, but they are just moving data from one location to another. That is the only thing that they are doing. So they are equivalent of the networking wires, वो भी data
Yeah.
ही move करती हैं इधर
Hmm.
से उधर. So
Hmm.
coders are also doing the same things. So so I think, if the person is curious, he will always find something interesting in that work, है ना. He will always say कि अच्छा यार ये ना डेटा, मे बी मैं ऐसा करता हूँ इसमें से, मे बी I'll remove some of the fields and see कि उसको पता लगा या नहीं पता लगा. या वो जो लिख रहा है ना, मैं उसको डिले डाल देता हूँ 10 सेकंड का, कुछ मिली सेकंड्स का, उसको पता लगता है कि उसके ब्रेन को रजिस्टर हुआ यार स्लो क्यों चल रहा है, या फिर मैं कुछ और करने लग जाऊंगा. मतलब ही विल मेक इट इंटरेस्टिंग. So every job, I believe, is interesting if the person who is doing the job is interested in it. Otherwise वो सबकी जॉब ना हमें ऐसी लगती है कि यार ये बहुत ही बोरिंग काम है, ये क्या है, ये मतलब क्या ही कर रहे हैं ये. So I think the only quality, because if you are not curious, if you are not making things interesting and fun, then it will appear more like work. And if you do overwork, then the situations like burnout or these kind of things will come up, which are not very good. And you have to do these things like for 30-40 years. So I'll always pick the person who is curious, who is finding ways to make the things that he has to do interesting, so that he can enjoy it and I can also enjoy it. So even if you see, on the all of our products, we try to make it interesting in some way. Maybe we'll try कि यार ईस्टर एग्स डाल देते हैं ना, हेलोवीन का कुछ डाल देते हैं और डार्क थीम इंट्रोड्यूस कर देते हैं.
Yeah.
No one is asking for these things, but this is something which will keep us engaged कि यार ये करते हैं, मजा आएगा. We'll see the reaction of the other people, how they are behaving or how they are doing. So these kind of things. So I think curiosity is the only thing that is a deal breaker for me. If you are not curious, if you find, so I have seen many people who says कि यार बोर हो गया हूँ. So I never uh, I never understood those people, because uh, getting bored is kind of a, yeah, मतलब बहुत ही गलत बात है. Like, how can you get bored? There's lot of things to explore, do. How can you say that I'm getting bored? Like, you're killing time and you're saying I'm getting bored. So curiosity is the only thing that I will pick from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm. 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 Thank you so much, Anmol. So it was a great talk for me, and a lot of new experiences, a lot of new information is also fed in my mind. And thank you so much.